Let's talk about project risk management. A question to you. What is risk? Pause our discussion, write your answer in a piece of paper, and continue once you write down your answer. Okay, let's jointly understand what is risk. Risk is something uncertain. What is uncertain? Something may or may not happen. So, what is risk? An event or a condition that may or may not happen. Why a risk should be identified in advance? Uncertainty in the project will decrease the confidence, right? If the risks are identified in advance, you as a project manager will be well prepared, and that's the primary reason you should identify all the risks in the project. But why risk management is important? Let's say a team member comes to you and said that he got stuck with his work due to a problem. You check with another team member. He said that he anticipated this problem and he already found a solution and implemented that as well. Who's smart in this? The second person, obviously, right? Because he anticipated the problem and also ready with a solution. Not just you, no one likes surprises. We already discussed that risk is an uncertain event or condition that may or may not happen. If you prepared for that, then there is no surprise. If you are not, then full of surprises. No stakeholder will appreciate if you tell them that because of the unanticipated event, the project is delayed by 2 weeks and the cost is going to overshoot by 5%. Often, we project managers think that risk is a negative thing, but risk can be positive or negative. Surprised? You shouldn't be if you remember our first discussion. Can you guess what we discussed? No, I'm not going to answer that. Refer your notes. Let's continue our discussion. If it brings positive impact to the project, then it's an opportunity. If it brings negative impact, then it's threat. Risk can arise from any part or any knowledge area from the project. It may be from schedule, it may be from cost, it may be from quality, or any knowledge area for that matter. So, while managing the project risk, it is important to consider the overall project. At times, the opportunities can bring great boost to the project. So, don't just ignore the opportunities part. Let's take a very simple example. Based on the data, you understood that just by training the project resources on a new software, it can bring up their efficiency by 40%. The resource have to attend 3 days training in a 3-month project. As a project manager, will you arrange for the training? Of course you will. Just by attending 3 days training, the overall project efficiency can be brought up by 40%. Then why not? Here, you identified an opportunity to increase the throughput of the project. Let's talk about the effect of risks. Unmanaged threat may result in delay, cost overrun, performance shortfall, or loss of reputation. They may even derail the whole plan. So, as a result, there will be challenges in achieving the defined project objectives. On the other hand, if the opportunities are captured, then it can lead to benefits such as reduced time and cost, improved performance, or reputation. Okay, so what is risk management? Project risk management is all about identifying all the possible risks in the project and managing them efficiently for the benefit of the project. Project risk management includes the process of conducting risk management planning, identification, analysis, response planning, response implementation, and monitoring risk on a project. Let's talk about the key objective of risk management. The objective of the project risk management is to increase the probability if it is an opportunity, or decrease the probability if it's a threat, and increase the overall probability of project success. Here, you are trying to exploit the opportunities and reduce the threats. All right, when do we manage risk? The answer is straightforward, right? Yes, throughout the project lifecycle. Don't forget the fact that risk will emerge throughout the life cycle of the project. So, project risk management should be conducted throughout the project iteratively. Risk should be monitored and managed as the project progresses to ensure that the project stays on track. Necessary risk management plan should be implemented as the risk emerges. Of course, project manager should be proactive in managing risk. He should not focus on dealing with problem, rather he should anticipate and prevent the problem. Let's understand the risk related terms. You may want to pay extra attention because many terms may look similar. Risk appetite. The dictionary meaning for the word appetite is hunger. So, risk appetite means risk hunger. It's about how hunger the stakeholders are towards the risk. So, risk appetite can be defined as a degree of uncertainty an organization or stakeholders are willing to accept in anticipation of reward. Some organizations are willing to take high risk when the rewards are high. Others may want to play safe. Risk should be managed according to the organization and project stakeholders' risk appetite. The next term is risk tolerance. Risk tolerance is all about how sensitive the organization or the stakeholders to risk. High tolerance means that the people are willing to take high risk. Low tolerance indicates that they are not willing to take many risks. Let's look at an example. An organization may allow schedule slippage by 10%, cost slippage by 5%. The next term is risk threshold. According to the PMBOK guide, risk threshold is the level of exposure above which risks are addressed and below which risks may be accepted. The definition may sound like risk tolerance, but risk threshold is a further step in the risk tolerance. It quantifies the risk tolerance with more precise figure. It's a limit beyond which your organization will not tolerate the risk. In risk tolerance, it's a limit, but in risk threshold, there is a clear number. Example, organization XYZ cannot allow taking a risk of cost slippage or impact for more than $2,000. Or one may say that for my project, the threshold is $10,000. While managing risk, it's very important for the project manager to understand what is risk appetite level of the organization or stakeholders, risk tolerance level, and risk threshold value. Typically, these informations can be obtained from senior stakeholder or from project sponsor. Let's talk about some of the risk factor terms. How likely? It's the probability that a risk event will occur. When? Expected timing for it occur in the project lifecycle. Impact or amount at stake. If it occurs, the range of possible outcomes. How often? The anticipated frequency of a risk event from that source. Let's talk about the trends and emerging practices in risk management. Non-event risk. Non-event risks are unknown risks. These are the risks occurs from nowhere and completely unexpected zone. Example, let's go back to one of our old example. You're managing a new pager development project. I hope you remember what a pager is, right? Yeah, that's the one. Of course, while managing this pager project, your focus will be on achieving the project objectives, completing the project on time and within budget. But an unanticipated event in the name of technology, mobile communication introduced, and the need for pager itself was no longer exist. Let's take another example. You are running a project in a foreign country. All the project costs are managed in local currency. All of a sudden, country's economy got collapsed and the inflation went very high. No one anticipated this risk. Another example is, while managing a supplier, your focus is on managing the deliverables of the supplier and you listed risks based on that. But unexpectedly, the supplier went bankrupt and went out of the business. I hope you are getting the idea about non-event risk. There are two types of non-event risk. First, variability risk. Let's look at it. Variability risk is developed from the environment that exists, but you have no control over it, like in a dice. You know that there is a set of numbers of possible outcome, but you don't know which one will actually occur. Let's see a few more examples. Number of errors found in a component may be higher or lower than expected. You don't know how much of rainfall will be there in a construction site. Economy of a country. In this example, you know the environment, but don't know the exact output. Also, you don't have no control over these outputs. By the way, variability risk can be addressed using Monte Carlo analysis. I hope you remember what is Monte Carlo analysis is. The second one is ambiguity risk. Uncertainties arising from lack of knowledge or understanding. Here, the risk occurred due to uncertainties, and the project manager lacked in those knowledge or understanding. Let's go back to the pager example. There is a disruptive innovation on communication technology had happened, and the organization did not aware of due to lack of knowledge about what's going outside the project environment. The next one is emergent risk. Emergent risks are something from completely unknown to the unknownable. They are completely outside the scope of the project. To manage this kind of risk, each project should have right level of budget and schedule contingency. We will get to know about the risk only after it occurred. Project resilience. Symptoms to the word resilience is flexibility. Project resilience is all about project flexibility. Emergent risks can be tackled by developing project resilience. So, this requires each project to have right level of budget and schedule contingency for emergent risk in addition to a specific risk budget for known risks. Flexible project process that can cope up with emergent risk, also maintaining overall direction towards project goals, including strong change management. Empowered project team that has a clear objective within agreed upon limits. Frequent review of warning signs to identify emergent risk as early as possible. Clear input from stakeholders to clarify area where the project scope or strategy can be adjusted in response to emergent risks. Let's discuss about integrated risk management. Projects in an organization may be part of program and portfolio. So, risks also to be owned and managed at appropriate level. Some of the risks that are identified at higher level can be delegated to the program or portfolio team to manage, and it's best to manage them outside the project. A coordinated approach to enterprise-wide risk management ensures the alignment and coherence in the way risk is managed across all levels. In fact, risk exists at two levels within every project. The first one is individual project risk. Individual project risk is an uncertain event or condition that, if it occurs, has a positive or negative effect on one or more project objectives. Overall project risk. It's a risk that arises from the combination of individual project risk and other source of uncertainty. In fact, the project risk management focuses to address both. All right, let's wrap up here on the overview. Let's move to the process.